1% of dudes rapping, they ain't nice as me. 98% ain't live the same type of life as me. The judge gave me life and then they sent me where the life is be. That level 4 with depth and vice, the type of stuff they like to see. Two choices, fight or flee. I refuse to die a chump. I never been a mark, but damn, it's scary when that riot jump. I seen dudes cry, get pumped, and some sexually brutalized. Knew a dude who lost his life and he was only doing 5 year-long racial fights when homie all you do is ride. Lonely days and nights up in a hole causing suicide. From the moment you arrive, you see the Mexican mafia, AB skinheads with big giant swastikas, pro-black philosophers, the BGF, the Kumi, and Muslims who will murk you from the nation to the Sunni. That MS was loony, quick to ride up on they rival. Even Christians went to church, hide knives up in a Bible. Political and tribal, the Crips and Damus, the Long Beach, the Hubs and the Dubs and the Grooves, the IE, the Bakersfield, the Dago Pyrus, the hustlers quick to roll, the gangsters don't move, whatever click. So today I'm gonna be reacting to another video by Seti Nash, talking about Big U hit with another superseding indictment, man. And in this video, I'm gonna keep it extremely 100, man. I'm gonna pull no punches. Things look extremely ugly for Big U, man. It looks like Big U is through. I'm not gonna lie, man. I've been trying to be optimistic. I've been trying to, just look at things from a positive perspective. But man, it's ugly for Big U. I think Big U is through, Vo. Let's get it.
Big U hit with a second superseding indictment. Check out this exclusive from All Hip Hop. AllHipHop.com. Exclusive. Big U hit with superseding indictment for threatening to kill Nipsey Hussle and other supposed to be overt acts, but other overacts? Oh, all right. Anyways, Eugene Big U Henley faced new federal racketeer charges alleging threats against Nipsey Hussle and violent gang control tactics. Federal prosecutors have sharpened their case against Eugene Big U Henley with a slate of new overt acts that depict him as a violent shot caller who boasted about disciplining Nipsey Hussle and others, even as he publicly branded himself a community mentor. There we go right here. In a new superseding indictment, the government does not accuse Big U of playing any role in Hussle's 2019 killing outside the Marathon clothing store in South Los Angeles. Damn, it's been 2019 since that shit happened.
And I think right there, that's very important because a lot of times people will read the title and sometimes they may be driving, listening to YouTube or talking and not hearing everything. So it says the new superseding indictment, the government does not accuse so let me start that over. It says in a new superseding indictment, the governor does not accuse Big U of playing any role in Nipsey Hussle, of course, 2019 in the killing of Nipsey Hussle 2019 outside of the store of the Marathon clothing. So I just think that it was important to make sure that part was put out there.
The murder was prosecuted in state court where Ronald. I was about to say Ronald. I'm tripping. My bad, y'all. Eric Ronald Holder Jr. was convicted of first-degree murder and later sentenced to 60 years to life in prison. Instead, federal prosecutors say Intercepted calls captured Big U's years later threatening to kill Nipsey Hussle and others in describing himself as the hunter of the rolling 60s. Rhetoric they frame as part of a racketeering pattern of intimidation and control. On December 31st, 2022, on an Intercepted call, Big U said that he was bigger than deceased rapper Nipsey Hussle and that he disciplined Nipsey Hussle and that defended he was bigger than any other rolling 60, according to Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche. On January 1st, 2023, on an Intercepted call, defendant Big U said he was not beefing with Nipsey Hussle because if anyone beefs with Big U, I'ma kill him, period. I am going to murder him. The superseding indictment's new overt acts expanded far beyond the already detailed allegations about a Las Vegas studio artist's murder, dispensary robberies, and extortion payments. It adds a series of fresh overt acts that aim to show Big U and his associates using fear to tighten their grip on Los Angeles streets and on wealthy clients. In one added episode, Big U discusses disciplining a fellow Rolling 60s member identified as OG Crip Cuz, claiming he had to be beaten for perceived disrespect and warning that he could have had him killed instead. In another, he allegedly recounts a dispute involving Nipsey Hussle and other neighborhood figures, boasting that if things had gone differently, he would have had a problem with any man and that issue would have been resolved and he wouldn't be here or I wouldn't be here. A line prosecutor cite to show how Big U linked his status to life or death situations.
Now, if you're paying attention to that, right, and I'll get into this a little later, but in my opinion, a lot of that stuff they're saying that they intercepted Big U talking about, some of that stuff can just be bragging. Some of that stuff can just be a dude boasting, a dude feeling himself, feeling his reputation, and saying things that need to be said verbally so you don't have to do anything physically. But what's going to be so horrible for him as that when the jury hears things like this, let's keep in mind the jury are law-abiding citizens. I can't tell you guys how many times I've seen somebody in prison talking about what they'll do. If a person do this, a person do that. 2 or 3 days later, somebody does this, somebody does that, and the person who claimed he would kill, stab, and do this doesn't do nothing but roll up. Sometimes people just say things to try to fit in. But of course, once again, due to the fact that the jury being law-abiding citizens, there is no way they're going to even be able to think about this or equate this into the equation. So when they hear that, they automatically go to the worst thing possible. And the DA is a master at playing upon the fears of the jury, of the law-abiding jury. So it's just stuff. This stuff that will be put in front of the jury before the jury, it's just ugly, man. It's an ugly look for Big U. I'm just keeping it 100.
So it say right here, overt act number 155 on December 30th, 2022 on an intercepted call, defendant Henley said that when defendant Henley catches whack 100, I'm going to break his jaw. Yeah, me too, Big U. I'm kidding, y'all. I'm just kidding. Overt Act 156 on December 31st, 2022 on an intercepted call. Defendant Henley said that defendant Henley was bigger than the deceased rapper Nipsey Hussle, that defendant Henley disciplined Nipsey Hussle, and that defendant Henley was bigger than any other rolling 60. Okay. Overt Act number 157 on December 31st.
See, once again, a lot of people may not like that, may not like what Big U is saying, but at the end of the day, it's Big U's opinion and it's just merely bragging. It's not outside of that, it's just bragging. But when the juror hears all this, coupled along with the fact that he's been to prison before, and then you add in all the rhetoric that the DA is going to use to make Big U appear to be a monster, once again, it's just an ugly looking predicament.
2022 on an intercepted call, defendant Henley said that if anyone has an issue with defendant Henley, they will no longer be alive. Overt Act number 158 on January 1st, 2023, on an intercepted call, defendant Henley said that he was not beefing with Nipsey Hussle because if anyone beefs with defendant Henley, I'm going to kill him, period. I am going to murder him. Overt Act number 159 on December 2nd, 2023, on an intercepted call, defendant Henley told Big U Enterprise Associates DS that to manipulate the press for DS's lawsuit against law enforcement, DS should show both positive and negative parts of his life, wear glasses, and say that he was working with development options, even though he was not. Overt Act number 160 on January 2nd, 2023, on an intercepted call, defendant Henley told Big U Enterprise Associates DS that defendant Henley needed to at least break the producer's jaw. God damn, Big U. Additional new overt acts describe Big U threatening to mess up a South Central Los Angeles business after employees refused him a discount and talking about hanging out in rival Grape Street territory while saying he could kill motherfuckers every day.
And see, once again, this is just bragging. This is just talk. He's talking about he should at least break the producer's jaw. But if the producer's jaw never actually ended up getting broke, or there's no evidence to show that, then at the end of the day, it's just talk. But once again, with the image that the prosecutor is going to create, and then all these separate, so many different charges, a lot of these charges carry 20, 30 years on just one conviction. And so, like I said, it just, will he beat every single charge? I honestly don't think so, and it's at his age already, it's pretty much like a death sentence, to be late 50s, early 60s and get 20 years in prison where you have to do 17 of those years. You're 60, you have to do 17 years. 77 is just, it's a position I definitely would not want to be in.
God. Prosecutors say he bragged about always having two blowers, aka guns, and being able to pay others to carry out assaults. The feds say this illustrates how he allegedly blended direct violence with outsourced muscle. The superseding indictment also adds detail about contraband smuggling, accusing Big U of arranging to get a cell phone into a state prison and then selling miniature phones for $1,000 each, treating incarcerated people as another source of revenue. Together, the new acts are designed to deepen the narrative that he leveraged his Rolling 60s pedigree, podcasts, and documentary appearances to project an image of reform. The feds say privately he was invoking executions, beatings, and armed enforcement that maintain what prosecutors call the Big U Enterprise's grip on Los Angeles. For now, Nipsey Hussle's death remains solely a state case. In federal court, Big U faces no homicide charge tied to the rapper yet. He wasn't a part of this shit. Duh, what the... Now listen, man, there's... In hoods in Los Angeles County, you had your young bulls, that's a Philly term, but you had your youngins and you had your older cats and all that stuff. And there's supposed to be a bit of structure. If you get out of line that structure, then you get summoned. They holler at you and all that. They deem whether you're going to get hands put on you, which is called a DP, or not. Some, you might get a fine. You might get a car took from you. You might get told you can't come around here no more. A whole bunch of shit. There's a whole lot of things happen and a whole lot of shit. And it is what it is. But Big U is just bragging and talking shit. Not even necessarily bragging, but just talking shit, bro. Like, half of what he said ain't even happened. He said, oh, if I catch a Whack 100, I'm going to break his jaw. You was in front of Whack 100 and then break his jaw. So what the feds are doing is they're trying to say Big U is a whole entire gang leader. He had Nipsey Hussle DP'd, and that's that. Bro, DPs happen in hoods every day over petty shit. So
Steady Nash hit the nail directly on the head, right? And he pretty much said what I said earlier, and I haven't even watched this reaction, right? So that's what I'm saying. But the sad part about the jury is not going to think about that, because the jury, once again, they don't know the ins and outs of the gang life. They don't know what goes on, what happened. They haven't been around enough gang members to realize that maybe if you've got let's just say you got 100 dudes from a hood, right? Maybe 15 or 20 of those dudes are the real serious gang members going out shooting and killing. Sometimes not even that much, maybe like 10, 10 of those dudes are putting that gang on the map and keeping that gang on the map. The other 90 are really just hanging on, showing up at the party, selling drugs, doing this, doing that, but they're not the hardcore gangbangers. And those are the dudes that are saying what they feel needs to be said in order to look cool. It's just a trip, man, because I can't tell you guys either how many times I get out. I'll run across one of my homies who, for the entire time that I was locked up, the entire 24 years, this dude has been free. He ain't done nothing. But when he see me now, he wants to put on this super gang persona. Hey, cuz, what's up, cousin? Hey, what's up, Logan, cousin? And he talking and stuff. He's doing what he thinks I'll find appealing. Not even knowing I don't talk like that. I don't act like that no more. But the jurors are not going to be able to differentiate between the two. And so, with all this evidence and other evidence they're bringing in, once again, man, I just don't think he's going to beat every single one of these charges.
I'm not going to say whether it happened or it didn't happen, but as far as, Nip could have got blasted and all that, man, fuck out of here. No, we're not going with that. Secondly, he just talking. You say, I got two blowers on me. Did he turn himself in with two blowers? Did y'all ever catch him with two blowers? Y'all been on Big U's heels for a decade. So if Big U would have read a stop sign and they would have caught his ass, they would have stripped his car and would have found the quote unquote two blowers. So nah, we not hearing that shit, bro. They're trying to add more salt on the Big U. They're trying to make sure that it's spread out, that they automatically say, well, even if we miss here, we're going to get here. It's basically throwing 1,000 darts and seeing which ones are going to land.
And that's pretty much it. In my opinion, man, Big U would have been better off if he was saying all this stuff in a rap song. That way it could have been called just expressive art, right? Because even that they ruled a couple of years ago, and even before that ruling, but they ruled a couple of years ago, they no longer can use rap music against a person as evidence, right? And so I'm just saying that to say that they are a lot of this stuff that they are accusing this dude of is like he said, he just talking, man. This dude is talking shit. He's bragging, he's huffing, he's puffing. You know what I'm saying? Because when you get of a certain reputation in the hood, right, you can say certain shit and use that for shock value or scare value, because you have a lot of individuals who have not actually been around you and banged around you. So they are just going with what they've heard about you. And so they don't want to be part of what you're talking about, right? So the tough talk honestly comes with the territory. But at the end of the day, if you don't have action behind the tough talk, then that's not a crime. So hopefully he'll have a lawyer who can just, break all this stuff down and make the jurors see. But like I said, it's tough, man, because I never forget when I was going to trial, right? And while they was picking the jury, they asked the jurors questions and so on and so forth, right? And one dude said, when my lawyer asked him, do he think that he could give me an unbiased fair trial? He said, yes, he does. He said, but he believes that I'm already guilty. And this is before they talked about any evidence. This is in the jury picking phase of the trial. And he said, because he has brothers and friends that are law enforcement, and law enforcement officials don't make those type of mistakes. They don't bring innocent people and lock them up. This was his thinking, right? So my point of saying this is, how many people think like this and just won't say it, right? How many people are prejudiced in that jury pool? And when I say prejudice, I'm not talking about prejudice against black people. How many people are prejudiced against criminals, right? So if they think you're a criminal, they may have been robbed 6-7 years. They may have had an aunt who got knocked in the head when coming out the store and her purse was took. So now they are prejudiced against people who they perceive to be criminals. And some people feel it is their civic duty to go to these jury trials and lock a criminal up. So while they're sitting there on the jury, they're not going to hear on any of this stuff with a open, clear mind. All they see is a person who is in jail because he has done something, and now it's his duty to say guilty. So it's a cold situation, man. Definitely a cold situation.
Them saying Big U got communications of this and communications of that. All right. But if Big U was so violent and all that shit, then he would have had Nipsey Hussle killed for disrespecting him. Y'all heard you ain't got a clue. Or what you even do? Nigga had no houses up. Nigga had no pieces of my houses up. Like, come on, bro. So, nah, they just adding shit, bro.
For those who may not be informed, what he's talking about is the rapper Nipsey Hussle had made a song disrespecting Big U. And so he had just quoted a couple bars from that song, right? So Big U heard the song. And so, he's saying, Seti Nash is saying that Big U had no involvement in the murder of Nipsey Hussle. But if he felt the way that the prosecutors are trying to portray him to as far as harming everybody he'd have a problem with, that dude would have died at the hands of Big U, basically, is what he's saying, right? So, I mean, he's making a lot of sense, and hopefully he'll once again have a smart lawyer who can argue all this stuff. I just don't think that every single charge they're going to charge this dude with, his lawyer will be able to pick apart.
But Big U said, I don't got no beef with Nipsey Hussle. So what the hell is the point of that? What's the hell the point of that shit? Like, what's the point? Oh, ramp up hate. So now y'all want to use Nipsey Hussle's death and then try to make it seem like, oh, we may find something that he may have had something to do with this and with that and all this shit, bro. Let me tell y'all something, man. What happened to Nipsey Hussle is unfortunate, but it ain't had nothing to do with no goddamn Big U. And if it would have had something to do with Big U, I'm fairly certain something would have happened to Big U. Just gonna be all the way honest. A lot of y'all cats believe, and some of y'all do, that everybody around LA was afraid of Big U. That ain't true. that shit ain't true. He just ran his people the way that he ran his people according to the feds. So believe what you will. But I'm not finna sit up here, not the big you I know. Nah, hell nah. I'm not finna sit up here and accept that bullshit. But if he did something, like I keep on saying, some of y'all get mad when I say this shit. And be like, well, you can't say this, say that. If Big U was dumb enough to do this shit that they accuse him to do, that's on him, nigga. You get what you get. Chin up, chest out, nigga. Ain't no, I don't spare nobody. You put yourself in situations and you ultimately roll that dice and gamble, that's your fault. Because at the end of the day, if he gets found guilty, you know what everybody gonna sit there and say? Your ass should have knew better. And this had nothing to do with nothing. There's no reason for a lot of this shit to happen. Bro, you are a goddamn celebrity. You could have been doing drops. You could have been, man, there's so much shit Big U ass could have been doing, but that's why cats need management. All right. Anyways, Eugene, Big U, Henry.
So anyway, I'm gonna wrap it up there, man. If y'all get a chance, go to Seti Nash's channel, check out this video in its entirety. Seti Nash, and once again, you know, he's talking about they have brought up more evidence against Big U in an attempt to get a conviction and ultimately bury him in prison. Y'all know what it is. It's your boy 16 to life. Resume normal program.